Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. There are always layers of listenership, of awareness on all of these messages. And the first layer is those who sit in front of me. And quite often the messages are targeted to them. This is the third message in the series of what has been called the Monument Valley Tour of 2019. I say that because those listening might not always get the time reference, or the place reference, or the sequence reference. The last channel we gave was personal. And it was given mostly to honor the indigenous. And so as we sit here, even before we tell the listenership where we are, these are sacred lands. And the ones who lived here had the ancestors who they draw upon for wisdom of life. And we recognize them yet again. And we ask permission of those ancestors for this message. A message that's not necessarily about the land this time, but a message of love and compassion, and one that I've given before in many ways. And so yet again, I work my way to that message through that which we've experienced yet today. This group sits here in the sun in a cool day in a hill that overlooks the majesty of the land. And in this, they have just come from that which is one of the most photographed wonders of the natural world, Antelope Valley. And now they overlook that which is Lake Powell. Beautiful, still, the colors are rich around them, and they all shout that nature is beautiful. And there's much to learn from it. Dear ones listening past this group, if you saw photographs of Antelope Valley, you'd know, oh yes, that's where they are. Well, the photographs are worldwide. It's a canyon that changes dramatically with the seasons, with the position of the sun, and is never the same. It is perhaps one of the most beautiful places to the eye that you can imagine. And as I've said, one of the most photographed. It is open 365 days of the year, and multiple hundreds of tourists pour through there. Did you ever wonder what the indigenous felt when they discovered it? Did you ever put yourself in that place? What would it have been like for those who were just discovering this land and the beauty of it and the particulars of it? And they discovered that. Would they be impressed? Well, you'd have to put yourself in their place, dear ones. Number one, did it help them hunt? No. Did it help them fish? No. Was it something that would help them with the resources of the land? No. And so it did not become a place that was energetic for them as much as the ley lines of survival, of the stars that would help them to know what was going to happen, or what season was coming, or what the insects would do, or where the animals would go. Indeed, they saw the beauty. But it was over time, dear ones, and different cultures that would discover it and say, this is beautiful. So the point is this, that culturally, depending upon who you are, the time frame, and what you're looking for, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Today you saw beauty. But that's going to lead me to the next thing. Outside of this place, I'm going to get esoteric. What is beauty to God? Many of you put your hands on the walls of the canyon, and inside you felt the energy. What were you really feeling there? If it was not all that important to the indigenous, what is it you were feeling? And I'm going to tell you, it's the thousands and thousands of those from all over the earth that went through there and gasped at the beauty. It was the honoring of nature and the canyons over the last 100 years. That's the crystalline grid. It remembers the honoring, and it imbues that into the granite and the sandstone. And so when you put your hands on the walls, you feel all of those who have come before. And you feel the beauty and the honoring of nature back. Because as you honor nature, as you sing to it, it eventually will sing back to you. How does God see beauty? Well, let's start here. I'm going to give a demarcation. One is this side of the veil, and the other is the other side of the veil. This side of the veil will be humanity in general. The other side of the veil is that realm where the Creator is, where the angelic beings are, where multidimensional energies come from. The veil has been described so many ways by so many historians that were spiritual. A veil is that which you cannot really see past because it's hidden from you. And there are those who had said that veil is set and never moves. That veil on the other side is where God lives, if you want to use that terminology, which is incorrect. This side of the veil, the three-dimensional or four-dimensional side, is where you live, which is not correct either. But that is the model. The part that you don't understand is the veil is variable. And I'm going to tell you yet again, before I even continue the channel of beauty and love and compassion, that one of the things that I want humans to understand and know is that that veil, which so many have said is absolutely set, there's God and then there's you, and there's the veil between. What if I told you that the veil varies depending upon the consciousness and the awareness of humanity? The more consciousness develops into oneness and understanding, as war goes away from this planet, and it will, as more are tuned into the oneness, no matter what their spiritual belief, it happens everywhere. There is a softening that goes on. Every single time a planet goes into what I will call an advanced graduation status, that is to say that a consciousness starts to raise and raise through generation and generation, the veil between you and that angelic realm starts to lift. And you see clearer through it because of the evolution. And dear ones, if you haven't noticed, this is not necessarily a group veil that I talk about. How about you? When you started to awaken to the potential that there was a larger truth, when you started to awaken to perhaps a potential of oneness, an awareness that all humans had the right to worship, and you could love them all no matter what. Because in basic terms, they all want the same thing. They all have families. They all have to survive. They all love, and they all have compassion at different levels. And an advanced awareness or an advanced human consciousness is going to awaken to those things. That there is a oneness with all other humans, no matter what their culture is. Let me ask, did the veil start to lift for you? And the answer is yes. Because suddenly it was all right to be more aware of things that were outside of the reality of what most people would believe. And I'm not talking about strange things or occurrences or visions. I'm talking about the feeling that you were in touch with something higher than you were before. And I mean in touch. I mean on a daily basis, you were able to get help and feel the love from the other side of the veil. Dear ones, 80 or more percent of this planet believes in the afterlife, believes in the Creator, believes in one God. And so you're all set up to understand that there's a separation between you and that which is more spiritual on the other side of the veil. So humanity in general is aware of that. But the ones that I speak to right now, so many of you who have had that experience, a lifting of the veil for you. So it's individual as well as humankind potential. What I've told you for 30 years is that the potential for human evolvement is here. What I've told you for 30 years, it is relationship to the magnetic grid of the earth has been established with consciousness, and that is why the magnetics of the planet even moved in the 90s, to allow this higher consciousness with free will to show itself. All of these times I've told you the track is established with free will for humanity to start growing up, to leave the barbarians that you were behind, to have the absence of war eventually, and it's coming. And every time we say that, there are those naysayers who say it cannot happen because it never did. There are those who would say, well, it's a nice idea, Kryon, but of course it's ridiculous. Because if you look back on humanity, it never occurred. And that war is something we will always have. In fact, there are those who say you're overdue for the next one. And so that makes this message something that is controversial. But not near as controversial as what I'm about to tell you. What I have said for so many years now, for decades, that gets me in trouble with almost everyone. And I'll tell you, how does God see beauty? Do you believe in angels and esoteric spiritual guides? Flat out, that question to almost every human being, and they will say at some level, yes. Because almost every spiritual system on the planet features those attributes. Angels, guides, helpers. In almost every spiritual system, there'll be hierarchies of those very things. And they'll give them names, and there'll be helpers in certain areas for health and safety, for weather. It is common to then get help from the other side of the veil through these ideas. Are these ideas accurate? Yes. Yes, they are. Because God, whatever that term means to you, the creator of all things, that which is inside you, has an entourage. And if you've identified it as angelic, that's the human feeling. That's as good as you can get. But remember this. Human beings can only project what they know from themselves. So the consciousness of humans then often is placed upon that which you don't understand. So the angelic realm often becomes simply humans that are different. An angel, for instance, is a multi-dimensional, beautiful helper, if you want to say, that is part of the realm of God. Multi-dimensional, beautiful. And yet for you to understand it, you have to put skin and wings on it and give it a name. You have linearized something that is multidimensional so that you can conceive of it. So you can already see that there is an issue with how you see things. And there's no judgment. It is as best as you can do. This is changing. For suddenly humanity is discovering in its science what a multidimensional thing is, where physics doesn't work the same, where time is adjusted. And that's the science. So if you apply that to the spiritual realm beyond the veil, you can see perhaps you're missing a great deal. And you are. What is beauty to God? Well, you'd have to then transfer that to ask, what are the attributes of the angelic realm and all of the helpers? What do you expect from them? And I'll tell you, they see the beauty on the planet. And you might say, well, have they been to Antelope Valley? And the answer is, they've been everywhere. But that's not what they see as beautiful. Like the indigenous didn't really see the Antelope Valley as something spectacularly beautiful because it didn't apply to the things that they needed, their survival, and the things that they thought had energy that were important. The valley did not give them a different opinion of the cosmos or the four directions of the compass. It didn't fit into the ceremonies. It didn't change what they did. Other thoughts and beauty? You might already know. Every single human being on the planet, unique, like no other animal, like no other nature, put here as God's creation, is the most beautiful thing to the other side of the world. Did you know that? Angels, always seen as beautiful, helper, miracles, all of the guides, they guide you to the good places, not the bad places. That ought to tell you a lot about what might be there on the other side of the veil. Beauty to God is you. And that's not what necessarily is taught on this planet universally, but someday it will be. Someday, I tell you this, in many generations from now, that will be common sense. That you are a part of the creation of the Creator. And there's not that much that separates you from the angels, except your consciousness and how far it will take you. If I told you that embedded in your DNA was angelic energy, I would get in trouble yet again. Because there are those who say, no, embedded in your DNA is horrible things. Things that you're going to be punished for. And this is where I want to tell you something, and I'll say it yet again. In this odd separation between humanity and that which is angelic, this veil, everything beyond that veil is precious and loving and loves you beyond measure. Compassion, benevolence, any word that you can even conjure up in any language that is good is there. And on this side of the veil is what you have created with free choice as humans. And it's not that. Free choice has created many layers of negative, dark things. And they all belong to human, not to God. And here's where the statement comes that I've heard for so many and for so long. Kryon, excuse me, are you saying that everything beyond the veil is good and everything here is not so good? That's a bit simplistic, don't you think? And here I will give the answer yet again. Listen to the answer. The answer is exactly. And when you get that, you'll be a better, more informed, more aware human being. Everything that is negative here, even the things you attribute to God, belongs to humans. All of it. God does not have the things that you've assigned to God. Judgment, punishment, horror, torture, the afterlife, even of children, going to a place where you burn them alive every day. You think that's God? Millions do. Millions do. Not understanding that on the other side of the veil, that doesn't occur. And the consciousness is not there anymore, and I'll say it again, any more than that's the consciousness you would have for your children. You would not assign that to your children, would you? No matter what they've done. This free choice that you have really means free choice. Free to take this planet anywhere you want to go. You might have noticed that Kryon does not give current advice over things that you do to yourselves. Whether it's all the controversy of the various types of radio frequencies you have in the air, or the chemtrails, or any of the things that may or not be affecting you. I don't talk about it because, dear ones, that's your karma. You do to yourselves what you do to yourselves. Part of the growth of consciousness is, will you clean up your act? Will you stop polluting to the degree will you kill yourselves? All of these things you are working with constantly. That is humans with humans. I am talking about the spiritual aspect of who you are. The things that are changing on the planet. The things that are starting to be revealed. Don't you find it interesting, yet again, that some of the darkest things that you've done to yourselves, or that's in your society, that have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years, are just starting to be revealed now? Don't you find that odd? I'll tell you, this is all related to the shift of the magnetic field, to 2012, to an increased consciousness worldwide over dark things, starting slowly to clean things up that used to be uncleanable. And that includes some things that are coming, and you'll see them, and you'll see them. And this, dear ones, is the proof that humanity is starting to accelerate its involvement in general. And I sit in front of a group of people in this beautiful place, and those listening who can just imagine what this place is like, who are starting to see it in their own lives. Exactly. God is good, benevolent. There is much love for you. You are seen in the eyes of all of the entourage on the other side of the veil as magnificent. The soul that is in every single human being is forever and is part of God. That's where the soul came from. That's where it goes back to. And you're here for a little while. This is temporary. All of it. As beautiful as it is, as short as your life is, it's all temporary. Home is where the good stuff is. There'll come a time when the veil will blur. And there'll be the realization that the angelic realm is starting to be available. And then there will be a more firm affirmation that perhaps it's inside. Kryon, you speak in riddles. No, I don't. Not really. Any more than the riddles of the indigenous have to be figured out because they work in metaphors. So do I. But you have to examine these things to understand a little more. Death has no sting, dear ones, except to the ones left behind. And I want you to realize that and understand that every single one of you will take a last breath again. And every single one of you will awaken within a short amount of time and hear the music and see that light, and you'll know again, whew, I'm home again. That's a promise. And every single human being has had a near-death experience is changed for the rest of their life. Did you know that this magnetic grid that you have around the earth is part of your consciousness? Were you aware that you need the magnetic grid to live? I'll say it again. If you're going to go into space, scientist, you better take the grid with you. You better assimilate it somehow and take it with you. You ought to study it to make sure you understand what it's doing, or what it's not doing. Because you can only go so long without it before your body starts to deteriorate. I've never mentioned this before, not like this. There are a few men who have gone beyond the grid as astronauts and spent time, and they were changed forever. And some of you can find this in books and interviews where they go out as astronauts or military or scientists and come back as painters and artists and poets. And you might say, well, what has that got to do with anything? I just gave you something to think about regarding the magnetic grid of this earth and reasons for it and how it's tied in to you, to the indigenous, to the land, to the other side of the veil, to the angelic realm, to what's going on in the shift right now. You are the Antelope Canyon to the angelic realm. They line up to see if you're listening. Some of you are, and some of you are not. But it does not detour them at all. These helpers, these angels, are next to you all your life. And with free choice, you may find them. And with free choice, you may ignore them. And there is no judgment. Because again, we'll see you, and the party is real. The party after life is real. The big aha is real. When you awaken and realize you are part of the angelic realm, and all that is here is artificial to some degree, a test to some degree, and temporary until that place where the veil is no more, and you as humans are one with your higher self. I've seen it. It happens in other places of this galaxy. It's even the reason you're here. That may seem a mystery to you for now. I give this message in a place where the ancestors smile. And they say, this is the message we have always given to the indigenous that are here, who know they are part of the 4 compass headings and are part of the stars and the cosmos and of nature, and play their part in a dance with the elements that keeps them surviving for century after century after century without any depletion of nature. Being one with these things is the most wise thing you'll ever learn again. That's it for now. Leave this place knowing you're magnificent. Truly. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
So, again, another day of beautiful teachings. Relax where you are. Make yourself comfortable as you need. You may even feel closing your eyes is helpful. And take a slow, gentle, loving breath, nourishing your entire body, every cell of your being. Gently, softly, gently, softly, dropping in even deeper into that core, into the heart, into your soul. Breathe. And prepare yourself more with a soft but very strong foundation, energetic foundation, empowering foundation for yourself to absorb more, to assimilate more, to integrate, to merge even more with your divinity. In this group layer of today, the human divine group that live within you in your multi-dimensional layers, expanding more your knowledge and understanding and wisdom and love. Breathe. And feel more of that beautiful, soft, loving energy that comes from within you, from your soul, with all the information that you receive, either energetically, or mentally, or emotionally, spiritually, all of them together, merging from other sources and from within you. Elevating you to a higher space of light, of the powerful soul that you are, of the great I Am that you are, that has no beginning and no end. Breathe. And let us open once again our heart, our mind, our soul, and our multidimensional reality to the multidimensional energy, wisdom, and love from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This channel, again, is in coordination with the teaching. And the teaching of this day, for those of you who are here for the class, will be profound. Class 2 is not quite as Class 1 was. For now we start to see the esoterics of the beauty and majesty of human DNA. You cannot look at DNA anymore as the chemical tree of life. From this particular class forward, all that you will see and hear are concepts. You have to turn a page of your reality, you might say, into an area which now is multidimensional. You're going to hear that term. You're going to also be aware of the discussion, suddenly, of esoteric things. The tree of life, as discussed yesterday, the biological layer, filled with magic indeed, communication, receptivity, all of those things being a transmitter and a receiver for what? And the answer is for all the other things that you're about to learn. Residing in the DNA are multi-dimensional energies that belong to you. The you that is divine, the you that is the soul, the you whose name you don't even know. We've said it many times. Is it possible that as you stand there or sit there and see yourself perhaps even in the mirror, that there is a lineage and a history that is profound that you're really not aware of? What if, as you stand there or sit there or look at yourself in the mirror, there is an entourage around you that you're not aware of? All of this is true, dear ones. It's part of the plan. It's almost like you are plucked from a beautiful, magnificent garden in color and put into a black and white desert called the planet Earth. That is a metaphor for the shift of dimensions that you go through when you get here. And there's so much you are not aware of. It's like a veil is there hiding all the things that are truly you. Walking on this planet as a soul, only a fraction of you is there. That is the biological you. And yet, behind that veil, it's all there. Most humanity says, well, the veil is somewhere else. And we will see that veil and we will go beyond that veil in death. And this is the concept and always has been. What if, dear ones, that veil belonged to you? The veil is a metaphor of an exposure to that which is hidden and available all the time. The masters of this planet taught that very thing. That if you understand and know things about that which is your majesty, about that which you can control that you didn't think you could, all things become possible. Masters who walk the planet, so many of them seem to do so many miraculous things. Many of them, not just one. Imagine a master who could live 900 years or more. That's a gift. It's a gift of understanding and knowing that the biology is totally controllable. The other masters imagine creating things out of nothing. Imagine the healing properties of others. What if every single one of these was available to all humanity? The masters who walked this planet told you it was. In so many times, in so many hidden metaphors, they told you it was. So many of them says, as you see me, you are. This has been the message over and over to humanity, who often sits there and doesn't understand that. I'm here to tell you, you are at the cusp of understanding that. A journey, perhaps, into your soul. That is what is in your DNA. But more, that veil that we talk about is truly something that is perceived. It is not something that exists somewhere else after you die. It lives within you, that veil. It is liftable by consciousness, awareness. aha experiences. Your DNA contains multidimensional energies, and that means it's not localized to your body. Kryon, what are you talking about? Our DNA is in our body. Yes, it is indeed. If you have a television transmitter and you're sitting at home watching your television set, where is the picture? And you'll say, it's in my television set. No, it is not. It's at the transmitter. Or is it in the receiver? You see, when you get to a multidimensional area of thinking and perception, linear things start to disappear. DNA is carried in your body as a receiver and a transmitter for multidimensional parts and pieces, including your guides and your angels, your reality, the veil itself, your awareness, and more. The study today is in the human divine layers. The study is something that is difficult for many, because you have to understand some premises before you get that which is cognizing the facts. The class today will begin in a moment. We tell you these things. There are those who listen to this channel who will not be seeing the class. I say to them, there is so much more, dear ones, than you know. And so much of it is in the majesty of your own chemistry. That's what these classes are about. When this class begins, I will tell you this. You may have to listen many times to what the teachers are giving you. You may have to read it in some of the periodicals and some of the publishing that is available to you. But it goes in quite often in piecemeal, because you're not designed to understand multidimensional things. You're designed to get pieces and parts in a way that there would be an aha experience when you see the circle of the way they put together. This is the way you learn, dear ones. You know it from school. When you're given concepts over and over in one day, they snap together and you say, now I understand. So it is the same here. I would like the day to begin with the understanding that this class, number 2 of 4, is the beginning of the magic. And so it is.
Well, welcome back, everyone, from the break. I hope you've had time to kind of assimilate some of the information we've been presenting. Lee, I believe we keep expanding our knowledge more and more.
I think that's normal with the teachers, that any teachers. In fact, in metaphysics, will tell you the same thing, that they have aha experiences even if they teach.
And I think it's our collective soul group that has gathered to hear this information. That's what we also feel. So we're going to move into a channel from Kryon, and to help us prepare for that, I have some affirmations where we can address the DNA layers that we spent time teaching today. And so I invite you to close your eyes, and you may wish to place a hand on your heart as I say these affirmations. Dear layers 4 and 5, my angelic name. Dear guides and angels inside. Dear guides and angels outside. Come closer, come closer, come closer. I give permission for a meld with my guides and angels. I rejoice in my connection and the elevated consciousness I carry. Dear layer 6, my higher self. My higher self is the portal of communication to the God within me. I am God and shall be forever. And I invite you to gently place your hands now on your lap. And from this energetic posture, we invite the beautiful, loving messages from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the concluding channel for a class called Class 2 of the 12 Layers of DNA Explanation. I give you this because there are those who will hear this channel who have not heard anything prior. But the channel can stand alone because it responds to the information which all can know. Even those who didn't take the class can know. Because it is a common experience with so many humans that they can feel so much more than that which they were told a simple biological body can experience. There are those who will then go perhaps into that euphoria of spiritual awareness. Some have called it even an out-of-body experience, when you somehow go beyond that which your brain then can give you, according to that which is chemical or that which is a synapse. There are those who have gone beyond it. But then there are those who have glimpsed it in all of its glory and its magnificence. I speak to those who have had a peek behind the curtain. There is an entire lineage of events and books and experiences around near death. It's an expression that many have used for having clinically died on the planet, whether it's in a hospital or not. And so many of these experiences are related to you in all languages as the same. Something happens, something that is unique to the human experience, because you are the ones with the souls. And they tell a story that you cannot fathom. Those who have spent a little time in that tunnel going toward that light, it's not just a cliche, dear ones. That is what happens. But so many of them got to the end of that tunnel, and we're about to open the door, which all of you would call end of life, death. And instead of what they were told they would get or receive at that point in time by any leaders on this planet who were supposed to be those with spiritual information, instead of that, they got something they didn't expect for a moment or two, and that's all it took. They opened the door and then have a revelation of what was there. And the revelation that they received was not in 3D. They could write books, but it still wouldn't be the revelation, because all that was them at that moment was sucked into love, became love. Compassion flowed both ways into every single piece of DNA in their body, every single cell. They were overwhelmed, overcome, and in that brief moment they saw a truth that they can't even explain, a truth that's beyond explanation, because they saw things you don't know are even there. They saw a grandness, they saw a plan. They saw everyone who ever existed on this planet that they ever knew or loved or lost. They saw themselves in many different ways. They saw smiles, they saw joy, they saw light, they heard their name, and the door slammed shut. And they come back to an operating room or lying on a table or lying on a floor or anything else, and they open their eyes and the first thing they say is, why didn't you leave me alone and let me go? You see, they saw the soul. They saw what is hiding that we teach. The 12 layers of DNA study starts to linearize everything I've said to you, so that you can take a peek at what might be inside you in 12 layers that we have put together as the names of God, to give you the impression right away that you're studying that which is the Creator. There have been criticisms of what we channel and what I teach that say, how dare any human being say, I am God? How blasphemous is this? How stupid and silly is this? And they would share that with the doctrines that they have, and they'd all laugh out loud and say, well, those people are crazy, until they have a near-death experience and they open the door and they know it's right. You see, the Creator is inside you. It doesn't mean you are the Creator. It means that made in His image is literal. The image is God. You're made in the image of God, which is love and compassion and benevolence. You're made in the image of that Creator. That's what it means. It means that God is inside. You are a piece of the Creator. You can say, I am God. And that is not blasphemous. That is magnificent. And it starts to reveal a grander truth, that maybe, just maybe, there's so much more than what you think. Maybe, just maybe, there's hope where you didn't think there was hope before. Maybe, just maybe, that there is no judgment for you, no matter what you have done, only love. Maybe there is a grander plan that includes you, your life, your name, in a way that is so much more loving than anyone ever told you. Maybe you can pick yourself up, no matter what you've done, what's happened to you, where you are, and understand this is simply a piece and a part of something grander, dear ones, that you are. That angelic name that was studied today, that took two layers of the 12 of DNA to teach, that angelic name is celebrated all through the universe. Did you know that? All of you are, because you are a piece of the whole of the Creator. I hope you can wrap your consciousness around this concept, that it's so much larger than any doctrine on the earth or rules that you have, that it's not another doctrine, it's not another religion. It becomes the truth. The truth encompasses love and compassion, a reason for being, a part of all things that exist, an interconnection with all the energies of humanity and the earth, all that is on the other side of the veil, or that you see in the stars. That is in your name. Think about that one. And so it is.